Hey fellas, this is Greg Williams, Dr. Heat. I get my ass ripped for having too many zero blitzes, and some of those I'd love to have back. But you're all shit on the podcast. I can't believe it. It pales what I do on a zero blitz in comparison to some of the bad life choices that Andrew, Ralph, Dave, and Kevin make. Are you kidding me? We can't make better choices on what we say and do and how we live our life, and now it's on podcasts? Well, let's get this shit straightened out, and let's do a better job for everybody out there who listens to that dumbass shit that you guys are talking about. Enjoy. Signing off, Greg Williams.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. Andrew, I don't know the day when the day will come when the Greg Williams Open doesn't make me laugh hysterically, but today is not that day. If you aren't, go to saintshappyhour.com, subscribe, become a patron. We're the best Saints podcast out there. Get the best Saints podcast every single day. Thanks to Christine, thanks to Bob, thanks to George. They signed up last week. Thanks, guys. It's amazing. And if you find us on YouTube, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Andrew, today we need to talk about the Sean Payton sweepstake because it's heating up and you were texting me all day and all night, yesterday night, saying, "You crippled son of a bitch, I told you so." You said the Saints weren't going to get anything really good. You said they were going to get 2 seconds. It's looking really good. They're going to get a first. I told you so. They haven't got it yet, Andrew, but it's looking really good. You got Arizona, you got Denver, and the team that me and you had sort of talked about that we hoped would get involved, the Texans, are requesting Sean Payton. We don't know how serious it is, whatever, but I feel like if you want to interview Sean Payton, you're serious about it. The Texans being involved does a couple of things. One, because they just have a ton of picks. And it's an interesting situation for Sean Payton. But where are we, you think, in the Sean Payton sweepstakes today?
Well, first of all, Ralph, it looks like we're both rocking Pelicans gear.
This is Pelicans.
Yeah.
They lost last night, but it's all right.
They did. They're starting to feel a little. No, I think they're starting to feel a little Saintsy. A lot of injuries. They're starting to collapse.
It'll be all right.
Feeling a little Saintsy. But as far as the Sean Payton sweepstakes, obviously the Texans getting in the mix, I think, is big. I think it's significant. And the reason I say that is, first of all, you have an owner that I think is prepared first of all, he has the draft capital to acquire him. So that's good news for the Saints. But more for Sean Payton, I think you have an owner, you have a city in Houston that should be great for sports, right? If you think about the Astros support currently like that, Houston should be a great sports town, a great NFL city, and yet they are completely disinterested.
Houston's a weird city. I live here. Houston's a weird sports city in a sense of this. If their teams stink, they don't really get mad. They just are like, "You suck? Okay, we're not gonna go. We're not gonna watch you." And so apathy in Houston sets in really fast. And that's the thing that's interesting with the Texans is you have a football crazy state, but you have a stadium where 30, 40% is empty, even though the tickets are sold. And there's a sense that the owner of the team is stupid and he got seduced by the preacher man who was the GM for a year or so. But Cal McNair, I don't think he's a bad owner in this sense. He's not making football decisions. He gave Bill O'Brien the keys to the kingdom. Cal McNair is one really good hire from being he's a top 5 owner. They have a great GM. They have a great coach. He doesn't meddle. He pays for players, and he's a wonderful owner. Benson, everybody said he was a terrible owner. He got Mickey Loomis. He got Sean Payton, and now he's iconic with the Saints, right? So Houston's really interesting in that sense, and they have the draft capital, and Sean Payton can get the quarterback he wants. So that's an interesting thing. The other thing I want to talk about, and you have mentioned this before, is, yes, it's not quite like free agency in a sense of Sean Payton can't, he can't just pick where he goes and it's done. Mickey Loomis has some say. But one thing I think it's going to be exactly like free agency, and it hasn't started yet, is Sean Payton hasn't taken these interviews. So you might have Arizona or the Texans or Denver, and they might be, hey, yeah, Sean Payton, he's great. He won a Super Bowl. Let's talk to him. But he's not the number one candidate. The owner isn't, oh my God, we got to have him. Thing about Sean Payton, you know this, Andrew. He's so charismatic. He's so amazing. He can go to these places, and I can see, could be the first team he interviews with, Denver or whoever, being like, we talked to you for 10 hours, baby. You're the one. We got to get married today. Don't go to Houston. Don't go to Arizona. Don't do these interviews. Stay with us. So I think there's all sorts of things at play that benefit the Saints for the price and getting what they want. Because once a team decides like Sean Payton's their guy, I think they're just going to want to close the deal.
Right. So, yeah, I think when you evaluate Sean Payton, I think apples to apples, obviously all of these teams would say that he's the best candidate. Maybe Jim Harbaugh, but, I still think Sean Payton's more appealing than Jim Harbaugh. So I think apples to apples, he's the best candidate out there. Now, as a team, you have to make that evaluation. Is it worth the draft capital we're going to give up plus, salary or whatever? So like it's not apples to apples, because like to get Sean Payton, you have to give up more than just a salary. You have to give up draft capital. So.
And you probably have to have the highest paid staff in the NFL. So like it's a big commitment. It's significant.
Yeah, but you do it if you believe he'll win you a Super Bowl. So he has to convince you of that. And we know, like you said, he's charismatic. Sean's a salesperson, and I believe he will go in if he's on his game. And on Fox most recently, when you've seen him in the interviews, he looks like he's on his game. He looks sharp mentally. And, if he goes into those interview rooms and he's going to say, all right, here's my plan. Here's how I plan to turn around Russell Wilson. Here's how I plan to turn around Kyler Murray. If you're the Texans, here's what I plan to do with the second pick, and he's going to show you that vision. This is how we win a Super Bowl. And I think owners will buy into it. They'll hear it, they'll see it, and they'll say, I want that. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It's funny. The three things that I said needed to happen haven't yet.
That's right.
Number one was Dallas losing, because then I do think Mike McCarthy potentially gets fired. And if Dallas enters the chat, and if Jerry Jones enters the chat, like, hey, Sean, stop listening to these idiots. I want you. Like, come home to Papa. Then everyone's like, well, hold on. Don't talk to Jerry. I'll up the offer here. So
that's right.
I think bidding wars can start if Dallas gets in the mix. I think you want Harbaugh out of there. So that announcement coming from Michigan that they've given him the mother of all college football guaranteed offers to stay at Michigan, that would be huge if that comes out. And then I think McVay retiring, I think the Rams scrambling to find a coach and getting into the mix with Sean Payton before he picks a team would also serve to kind of
and the thing with the Rams are not a normal team in this sense. The Rams, any other NFL team has sort of this built-in fan base where they can hire no-name assistant offensive coordinator, and it's cool. And fans aren't going to in LA, like you can't have, for lack of a better term, like you can't have. I'm trying to think of like a nondescript coach that win like.
You can't go 4-13 and be satisfied like, oh, well, this is the price we paid for winning a Super Bowl. It's cool. And then McVay leaves and you're like, yeah, we're going to replace him with, I'll use a Saints a Saints guy just to, so it's someone we all know. Like you can't hire Doug Marrone from the Saints staff.
Yeah.
That's our head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't, like, they can't do it. But here's another thing that that really interests me. And I think if this happens, you potentially will be dunking on me for all eternity because the Saints could get the mother of all offers. Listen to me. This is my dream scenario. The Texans decide they really want Sean Payton, whether that's next Wednesday or whenever he's going to interview, right? Dallas loses on Monday night. Then you have the two Texas teams fighting over Sean Payton. And you have Jerry Jones saying, I've been wanting this guy my whole life for like a decade, right? He's my key to winning the Super Bowl. I'm 77. I can't let him go to the other Texas team. And you have Houston with their owner, who everybody views as a failure and incompetent. He'll say, I can't let the other team in Texas beat me on this. Houston will never get over this. I have to get Sean Payton. Then this Mickey Loomis is he's sitting pretty.
Who's giving me 2 firsts? Yeah.
Because then you have Dallas offering 2 firsts. I don't think the Texans would offer the second pick, but they might offer 12, 34, and a 2 next year. I think it becomes great for Sean Payton because his salary goes through the roof. So there's all these things.
I've been told the asking price for Loomis is a first plus. So I don't know what plus means exactly, but it is additional compensation that's not a first, in addition to a first. So yeah. I mean, look, it's super interesting. And look, that would be a great scenario, of course. I think we're all rooting. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have to root for Tom Brady on Monday night.
That's right. Drink your way through
I'm doing it for the Saints. I'm doing it for the Saints, and I'm dry January, so I can't drink. So
I'll drink for you.
Please drink for both of us.
Well, I'll say this: you don't just want Tampa stomping them would be fine. Like any Dallas loss.
I can delay my desire for Tom Brady and Tampa to completely fail and fall flat on their face
next week.
I can delay that a week.
Yeah, we can delay it a week. It's fine. And I just, like Jerry Jones said, look, the playoff game is not going to factor into McCarthy. That's a lie. But Jerry Jones is smart enough to know he can't say on his radio show the week of a playoff game, if they lose, I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect him to say?
He can't.
You know what he means by that? He might be meaning, look, McCarthy's gone no matter what he does in these playoffs.
As soon as Sean Payton was available, it was done.
Unless McCarthy wins a Super Bowl, right?
Do you think there is a distinct possibility? Because I saw some reporters, Benjamin Albright, who mostly covers the Broncos, and a couple other guys saying, hey, there's a feeling around the league that Sean Payton is going to not take a job this year. He's going to go back to Fox. What's your sense of that happening?
I think it's pretty slim. Look, he's put it out there that there's a 70% chance he might return. So I think Albright making that report is clearly a function of what Sean Payton put out there. Mm-hmm. I think that he's just reacting to that and trying to make it sound like he's got info behind the scenes, but I think he's just lifting a comment that Sean Payton made. And why would Sean Payton say 70% chance I return? I think he puts that out there because he's trying to create some desire for him and like, I don't need this. Like, make me an offer I can't refuse.
That's right.
Right. I think that's what Sean Payton's putting out there. I have a hard time seeing Sean Payton do this whole song and dance, doing the media tour, putting himself out there in the media, leaking things to reporters, unless he wants to come back, like desperately.
Yeah.
I think he's done the media thing. I think he thinks it sucks. I think he has that urge to compete. He's had a year off and he misses it.
Yes, right.
And I think he 100% wants to come back. And I think he's trying to create the illusion of, I might go back to Fox.
That's right.
And it's all to grease the wheels and kind of create this market for him that's more desirable. So I would be very surprised to see him go back to Fox. But look, I mean, there's a scenario where, let's say, Dallas goes far, right? So that job is not available to him. And the Texans interview a bunch of people and they're like, we want to go young this time. Like, we want a Cliff Kingsbury, McVay, LaFleur kind of head coach that is unproven but is young, relates to his players. Like, we're going to go that route. So the Texans do that, which would be a departure from what they've done before, which is hire veteran coaches, right?
That's right.
The Texans do that. And so then it's down to the Broncos and the Cardinals. And let's say Sean Payton's like, I'm not really feeling the Cardinals. It's not the good spot for me. So then he's all in with the Broncos. and then the Broncos hire, let's say
Harbaugh.
They hire Harbaugh. I think there's a world where like it just doesn't work out for Sean Payton, and he's like, I'm not going to the one team that's left because I don't like. I interviewed. I'm not feeling the vibe, so I'll wait till next year.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I do think the teams that interview him, I'm going to predict this. If he coaches this year in 2023, he's not going to do all three teams. One of those teams, one of the first two, is going to godfather him and godfather the Saints, and it's going to be done. And it's going to be done.
You're saying he's not going to do 3 interviews.
He's not going to do 3 interviews. Like it's going to be.
I think he might. I think he might only because, with the Rooney Rule and due diligence, like they're going to have to interview other people. Now, if these teams are smart, they're getting those interviews done before, because Sean Payton can't interview until the 17th, which is 5 days from now. They're getting those interviews in now so that they're ready to pull the trigger the second they interview Sean. So you might be right about that.
Yeah.
But I think Sean might want to wait for Dallas.
Yeah.
He's got some back channels with Jerry. Let's say they beat Tampa, and let's say Jerry's like, hey, Sean, just hang on a week. Just hang on a week. Don't sign anywhere because I want to see how this next playoff game goes. And look, I mean, if that happens, then maybe he would wait.
Maybe, yeah.
And then he would do all those interviews, to buy himself.
Buy some time. We'll see. We'll see how my prediction goes. But scale of 1 to 10, then we're getting out of here, Andrew. How strongly do you feel about the Saints getting a really good package for Sean Payton this year? I'm not gonna pin to tell you they have to have a first, but when Sean Payton, they're gonna get a really good package before the end of this month for Sean Payton. 0, they're getting the 2/5, 10 out of 10.
Or he's going back to Fox, right? That's
0. He's going back to Fox. 1, they get a 3rd and a 5th. 10, they get 2 firsts and a 3rd, or whatever. How's your confidence level?
I would put it at 8. And now keep in mind, if he goes, let's say to Arizona, they have the 3rd overall pick. I don't think they're giving up the 3rd overall pick. So I think what would probably happen in that scenario is they get a 2nd this year, which would be really high. It would be 30, 35, 34, 35. So they get a really high 2nd round pick this year, and then a 1st next year, and maybe a 3rd. So I think they, even if it was Arizona, I think they would get a massive return. So I'm really confident at this point that will happen. I mean, we suggested some scenarios where maybe it wouldn't, but I think the worst case here is that they get a 1st round pick for him
sometime down the line. I like that. Feeling good. After the way the Saints season ended, we needed some good news, and you gave it to us. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Go to saintshappyhour.com, become a freaking patron, support the program, support the podcast so we can keep doing what we're doing. We need your support more than ever. And I guarantee you, this podcast is going to make your Saints offseason more fun. So go sign up. You're not going to regret it. I promise you. For Andrew and Thomas, we will see you again next time.
Thank you, Dr. Heat.